Chapter 1: The Retro Mirror. Nestled deep inside the foreboding forests of Ravensbrück, there lay an ancient, dilapidated home called the Hollowbrook House. Its past was shrouded in secrecy and terror, spoken in low voices by the locals on long, spooky evenings. The mansion was said to be cursed, to have a troubled past that clung like a vindictive ghost to its decaying walls. After being deserted for many years, it welcomed a new occupant that fateful evening. Alice Holloway was a young woman who had inherited the cursed estate from a distant cousin she had never seen. She was seeking isolation and comfort from the craziness of the outside world. Her life had been clouded by the news of her unexpected inheritance, which had come as a grim portent. Alice has always been drawn to the macabre and fascinated by paranormal and mysterious stories. Despite her friends' and family's dire warnings, she had accepted the ominous present because she was fascinated by the uncanny and the unknown. An atmosphere of dread filled the air as she crossed the Hollowbrook House door. The mansion's lost grandeur was revealed as dust motes swirled in the faint light. Dusty blankets covered elaborate antique furniture, and in forgotten nooks, cobwebs hung like ominous tapestries. The large, elaborately framed mirror, the focal point of the entry hall, had glass that had been discolored over time due to negligence. Alice walked up to it, the gloomy light distorting and unsettling her reflection. A peculiar feeling came over her as she studied the mirror, like fingers of cold fear crawling up her spine. A voice appeared to come from the bottom of the mirror, barely more than a whisper. It growled, "Welcome, Alice," and she felt a shiver go down her spine. She recoiled in surprise, her heart pounding. There was nobody else in the hall, yet she could still plainly hear the voice. Her breath caught as she stepped closer to the mirror again, saw her reflection twisting and moving, its eyes evil. The voice from the mirror became louder, more demanding. The repeated phrase, "You should not have come," had a melancholic tone. Fear wrapped its cold claws around Alice, making her heart race. She staggered away from the mirror, horror and bewilderment racing through her head. When had she entered Hollowbrook House? What had she unleashed? The sinister mysteries of the cursed reflections were just getting started to surface. After Alice's frightening experience with the creepy mirror in Chapter 1, she began to feel a rising feeling of dread and realized that the house was home to long-forgotten monsters that were beyond understanding. Chapter 2: Whispers in the Shadows. Weeks passed, and Alice at the Hollowbrook House grew more and more uneasy. An air of evil energy appeared to fill the estate, and the old-fashioned mirror in the front hall continued to be a source of deep discomfort. The few friends Alice had in Ravensbrück had laughed at her stories of the cursed reflections and written them off as the result of an overactive imagination, despite her best efforts to confide in them. She started to spend an increasing amount of time by herself in the dark hallways of the house as isolation became her daily companion. Unable to sleep on a moonless night, Alice found herself lured to the menacing mirror once more. As she stared into it, her reflection started to shift, and the glass appeared to ripple like ebony water. Her visage twisted and distorted, becoming more sinister and menacing. A menacing murmur sounded from the mirror, echoing inside her head. "Now, Alice, you are one of us. No way out for you." Her heart seized with fear, yet she was unable to take her gaze off the moving mirror. Her own hands, fingers as cold as death, stretched out of the mirror and wrapped around her throat, which she watched in terror. Alice lurched back, gasping for oxygen and holding her throat like she had been haunted by the phantom from the depths of the glass. With a menacing force flowing through its walls, the house appeared to close in on her. Her mind was being worn down by desperation as she attempted to comprehend the evil power that had taken over Hollowbrook House. She started searching the estate for hints, discovering long-forgotten journals and diaries from earlier occupants. Every one of them told a story of obsession, derangement, and suffering connected to the evil mirror. Based on her investigation, Alice came to the conclusion that the mirror was a portal to a different world where evil spirits were trying to tie the living to their cursed reflections. It seems that facing the ghosts that inhabited the mirror and learning about its sinister past would be the only way to lift the curse. With apprehension, Alice dug farther into the mansion's past and discovered long-forgotten mysteries. She discovered the terrible destiny of the Hollowbrook family, their affiliation with sinister occult rituals, and the curse that had befallen them. Alice came to understand that she was not fighting the cursed reflections by herself as the truth came to light. The diaries and notebooks she had unearthed told the experiences of others who had battled the same evil power throughout history. Alice knew that her trip into the darkness of Hollowbrook House had only just begun, but she was determined to meet the souls imprisoned within the mirror and break free from their evil grasp. She was determined to find the truth and lift the old curse that connected her to the evil glass, even though the cursed mirrors held truths that would destroy her sanity. Alice's resolve to learn more about the mansion's past and face the malevolent spirits hiding behind the cursed mirrors marked the end of Chapter 2. Alice was determined to uncover the evil mirror's origins and escape its pernicious hold because it had grown to be an unrelenting source of horror. Chapter 3. The Revealing Signs. Alice's fascination with finding the truth intensified as she dug further into the history of the haunting mirror and Hollowbrook House. Her nights were spent in a state of restless sleep, eerie nightmares, and glimpses of evil entities and warped reflections. Alice's investigation revealed that the origins of the mirror were unknown. It had originally belonged to a mysterious guy who resided in the home over a century ago and was known only as Emmerich Blackwood. It was said that Blackwood had performed strange, understanding-defying rituals with the mirror and had access to prohibited esoteric information. Alice entered the run-down library of the mansion one rainy night, where old scrolls and dusty books filled the shelves. She discovered a journal written by Emmerich Blackwood himself among the prohibited books. Its pages were crammed with details of dark rituals performed in front of the mirror and mysterious incantations. It dawned on Alice as she read through Blackwood's journal that the mirror had served as a portal to a world of evil spirits. Known as the Eidolons of the Abyss, these beings aimed to trap the living in a distorted mirror that would keep them trapped in a never-ending cycle of suffering and hopelessness. According to Blackwood's chronicle, finding the lustrous amulet, a long-lost relic, was the only way to lift the curse and drive the Eidolons from existence. It was stated that this amulet had the ability to break the connection between the cursed reflections and the living world. Alice set out on a risky expedition to locate the lustrous amulet, determined to end her suffering and break free from the evil mirror. With each more ominous clue from the notebook, she descended further into the mansion's underground rooms. The house appeared to have transformed into a maze of concealed passageways and walls that concealed the shadowy remains of Blackwood's esoteric endeavors. During her quest, Alice encountered the restless ghosts who lurked beneath the cursed mirrors. They put her willpower to the test by whispering dark riddles and torturous secrets. Alice could sense the amulet becoming closer with every step. Chapter 4. The Fall into Shadows. Alice descended farther into the Hollowbrook House's maze-like interior on her search for the elusive, lustrous amulet. The old hallways of the house seemed to be whispering secrets of misery, and the shadows looked to be moving with a malicious intent. Driven by a desire to escape the cursed mirrors and put an end to the misery that had become her existence, her resolution did not waver. Her bond with the mirror deepened with every day, and she began to feel the Eidolons lurking inside, their menacing murmurs a constant source of pain. Following the mysterious hints left in Blackwood's notebook, Alice discovered a secret chamber tucked away in the mansion's interior, a chamber brimming with antiquated artifacts and enveloped in darkness. The lustrous amulet lay atop a stone pedestal in the heart of it all. Alice shuddered as the amulet glowed with an unearthly brightness and gave off a spooky atmosphere. Though the voyage was far from complete, she was certain that she had discovered the secret to her deliverance. The room appeared to come alive as she extended her hand to take the amulet. A brisk breeze blew through the room as shadows danced around the walls. Knowing what she intended, the Eidolons of the Abyss revealed themselves with a ghostly chorus of tortured cries. As their voices resounded in her head, You cannot take what does not belong to you. Alice clenched the amulet and murmured the spell she had discovered in Blackwood's notebook, determined to face the evil spirits. The Eidolons flinched away as the amulet pulsed with a bright light, their forms vanishing like smoke in the breeze. The Eidolons gave one last frantic wail and disappeared, leaving the chamber in a strange silence. When Alice saw that the spell had been lifted and she was now free of the haunting mirror's hold, her heart skipped a beat. But there was a price for the win. Alice could feel the evil spirit still present in the amulet since it had taken in their energy. The amulet could never get up in the wrong hands, she realized, or the evil of the Eidolons may be unleashed once more. Now that Alice had the lustrous amulet securely in her control, she vowed to keep it safe and make sure the evil spirits were permanently restrained. She was aware that the Hollowbrook House's past would always haunt it, but she had managed to drive the evil away. She could no longer hear the ancient mirror's eerie repetition, whispering as she exited the mansion. Though it will always have the scars of its bleak history, Hollowbrook House would no longer be a place of suffering now that the curse had been lifted. Alice had triumphed against the evil energies that were present in the cursed mirrors. Her trip through the shadows served as a lasting tribute to her bravery and tenacity. She would always be burdened by the secrets contained in the mirror, serving as a constant reminder of the evil that existed under the surface of the earth. The cursed reflections had ceased to exist, their torturous murmurs no longer following her about. Alice realized as she left the mansion that the mysterious and unsettling Hollowbrook legacy will always be a part of her life.